Yo, this your boy Tonio coming through another episode on BackYard Comedy. As always, I got my boy, Skeezy Baby. Please say the baby.
You already know that.
Is that really dude that I got beside me?
Always and forever.
I'm your boy Vocal 26, and if you see this man right here, y'all know it's time for the BackYard Inspiration. How you doing, Pop?
Hey, man, doing good. Nice to be here.
Good to have you here. Before we jump into this episode, man, let's do a recap of last episode. Y'all know it's brought to you by Real Demand TV. Yeah. We're streaming in 172 countries. If you know anybody dealing with any type of substance abuse, holler at my man, Mr. Julius Rowe. He will get you moving in the right direction. Also, W, our sponsor, energy drink, the Jitterless Blend. Make sure y'all get hold of that. If you go on our website, www.backyardcomedyllc.com, stroll down to the bottom, use promo code BackYard Comedy LLC, right? Or BackYard Comedy 1 to 2.
Just click the button.
Just click the button. There you go, and you will get 10% off of W. On last episode, we talked about, are you making your dreams a reality? How you say it, Ski?
Yeah.
Every time, that's why I say that.
Are you investing in your dreams or your reality?
Yeah. Should you invest in your dreams or your reality?
Yeah, man. That was a real good episode. It's streaming right now. Make sure y'all tap into that. Email us, let us know what you think about that, which is going to coincide with today's episode. And it is, drum roll, please. What is Ski? I got
In between the lines.
In
between the lines.
Reading in between the lines.
And that's perfect, man. I think it's great because we want to talk about discernment. And Pops came up with a great phrase of read in between the lines. That's what really what we need to start doing out here in this day and age. It's a lot going on, man. So
I know we're not going to stand before
we
you
ain't gonna
long.
be for you long.
You know how we do. So Pop, you know we always like to start off with you because you I know you got that word coming on through there. Reading in between the lines. What do you feel about that with discernment?
Yeah, well, we, like you say, we're really focusing on discernment, and which by definition, from a secular perspective, means just good judgment, being able to know what is the best for any particular situation or that particular situation which is at hand. From a Christian perspective,
I'm glad you said that.
Stop, man, you're so stupid. Because it has to do with spirituality and having the ability to sense something from the realm of the spirit, dealing with Yeshua or dealing with Yahweh or God. And so when we talk about that, you got to be able, most of all, to hear clearly and to make a decision based upon what you hear and perceive.
You get right on in there.
Yeah.
My bad. What you about to say, Ski?
No, so that's exactly right. So the thing is, we have to be able to work on. So some people already have the gift of discernment, which is great. Which you still need to work on building it. But some people do not have discernment at all, and need to start looking into working on building their discernment. And there's ways you can do that. And I was reading something earlier today, and it just says,
"Take your time."
You stupid, man. Don't start. You can build discernment through consistent practices such as seeking wisdom, cultivating self-awareness, practicing mindfulness, staying informed by evaluating information from multiple sources, and seeking feedback and counsel from trusted sources or individuals. So that's, more than likely, if you're in the realm of talking about spirituality, that's going to be your pastor, your preacher, or someone that you have a covering that you can trust in, that they're going to give you that wisdom and word that you need to understand what you're going through.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. And looking from it from, we always got to be real and reach out there to y'all, man. I always put myself in it. I have been in incidences where, I knew my discernment was there, but I didn't even listen to it. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand something that, when you don't have a substance about yourself, you ain't gonna be able to hear your discernment. Keep talking about that. you got to be standing firm, and you got to know when you know that you know that you know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What you feel about that, Pop? Because I know you got somewhere you about to say about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about you said you had it, but you didn't pay attention. So
yes, sir.
What that brings to mind is that we'll call discernment the conscious in some cases, even though it may or may not be the conscious, because your conscious is something that may warn you internally and has nothing to do with discerning an issue, but it has to do with guiding you. But when you hear that inner voice, especially when it talks about differentiating between one thing or the other, and especially if you've already seen the red flags, that you might want to listen. And I love what was said too by Onyx Jr. There is that it's a gift, but gifts have to be perfected. And I think that's what people fail to realize is just because you're gifted, that doesn't mean that your gift has been perfected. You can have a gift and it still hasn't been dialed in to its maximum capacity. So you may be better than others who don't have the gift, but you're not the best you because you haven't perfected the gift.
Now you better talk to him about that is something real right there. See, man, that's why I love when you talk, man. That's why I love when you talk. What you feel about that, dude?
My discernment came with a lot of going through experiences, different experiences. Even though I had to go through them over and over sometimes, but that's where it comes in. You have to have those experiences to know what you're getting yourself into, because some people don't go through certain things, like your first time going through something. That may be your way of getting discernment. You have to go through to obtain that, that information or that knowledge of discernment.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot as well, man. You also got to mind. You said on the last episode, you got to mind who you share those type things with. Yeah. Because I have been in the incidents where I have had those feelings and those thoughts and had my discernment and shared it with somebody, and they just thought I was full of boo boo. They thought I was tripping because we wasn't aligned. With,
exactly.
With, you know what I mean? So
somebody you're unequally yoked with.
They
weren't where you were. And that's where the book talks about casting pearls to the swine.
Come on here now.
So you can't give that which is holy to the dogs because they don't perceive it. A dog eat his own vomit. Swine is going to go back to the mud. You can't give anything precious to them because they don't value it. So you can't give anything that's precious to you to someone who doesn't value you because they're not going to give you the right response. And Dooley, you said something that was very powerful because you said you had to do it over and over again. A lot of us don't recognize that that's how we learn. It is the process of repetition that teaches us. Anything that we go through and anything that we learn that stays with us, we have to go over it over and over, whether we rehearse it intentionally over and over again or whether we're guided there by our misunderstanding, our lack of receiving it and implementing it into our lives, and we go through it over and over again. But one way or another, the lesson will be learned. They always say there's an easy way to learn and then there's a hard way to learn. So you can learn through somebody else's experience and you can also learn through yours. But they say experience is the best teacher, and sometimes experience can be the worst teacher. And when it comes to discernment, if you don't employ it, it definitely can put you in a position that leaves you wide open and also sets you up for some undue stress, undue hardship, and some mental anguish that you never thought that you wanted to go through. So, a lot of times you have to make sure that when you're discerning that you have the right development, you have the right tools to apply to make sure it's just not you talking, or maybe it's not just some other pain or something that you've gone through that's speaking, and make sure it's dealing with the real issue and giving you a real answer that you can get real results with.
And that's funny you say that, because I was just about to speak about tools to sharpen your discernment, and one of them is a way to avoid, like you said, that heartache and that anguish is prayer. James 1:5 said, if any man doesn't have the wisdom, let him ask God.
Who gives?
There you go. Who gives all generously without reproach, and will be given to him.
Come on now.
Right here.
I just want to let you know I can read it too.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
That's real.
He know him by heart.
He know him by heart.
He got it down.
That's real though.
But that's tools that we can use is prayer, man, and another one is God's word, of course, the Bible. And another one is awareness of Satan's schemes, and that's by going through what you said, by going through stuff. You have to be aware of what you're going through or what you've been through, so you won't have to go through it again. The fourth one is awareness of areas and suspectability. And the fifth one is going to be godly counsel. Godly counsel. So
I like to add another one: patience.
I say patience. Patience.
You gotta have patience to get to have discernment.
Absolutely.
And I like the counsel, saying godly counsel, because we're in an era where counseling is promoted and it's promoted on from every genre.
Yep.
And we got to make sure that if we get counsel, which there's nothing wrong with it, that we got to make sure though we seek counsel again that is compatible with who we are, what we believe, and where we're headed.
Right.
If you get counsel that is contradictory to your belief system, then your counsel will be an error in your life because you'll be counterproductive to what you're trying to release or produce. So you got to make sure that when you get it,
we gotta make sure we're not allowing discerning to be concerning.
That's a good way to put it.
Right there now, because
I want to get philosophical.
It's a lot of false people. You know what I mean? That they'll go, come on down here, let me pray for you, let me do this. And I was always raised up. You don't let everybody pray for you.
You don't,
because everybody is not filled with the Holy Spirit.
Put hands on
it's a lot of false people out here. It's a lot of people that are smile and like we talked about last time, man. They support you one right there. They got your back and they praying on your downfall the whole entire time.
Absolutely.
They're listening to all your thoughts. They're listening to all your prayer. They're listening to everything, and they're trying to figure out a way how they can bring you down. You know what I mean? So you gotta make sure that the discerning is not concerning. Go ahead.
No. I like that. I like that. That you got to make sure that it's not concerning, but you should be concerned about what you discern.
Preach on, Reverend.
Oh yeah.
So therefore, you mean it's just like it's okay to worry, but you can't allow worrying to be greater than your faith.
Yeah, that's real.
Come on, you just said something. Say that again. Say that again, Pop. Say that again. I don't think they heard you out here. Say that again, because that's real talk there.
Yeah. It's just like worrying. You can't allow worrying to be greater than your faith.
Real talk.
Your faith has to supersede what you're worried about. Your God has to be bigger. Just plainly put. And so those are things we really have to worry about. And all those points that we're giving by Preacher Junior over here. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those points are necessary things, and you gotta have positive influence. You gotta have positive people, but you gotta have boundaries. And then too, what the points say is, I got a target. I've got to have a focal point. So if I'm going to sharpen anything, then I've got to make sure I'm using the right tools, and I got to make sure I have a desired end. And I've got to know, as was stated, you said before, I got to know where I am. I got to know who I am. I got to understand where I exist at this point. So my first thing, before I can even start discerning anybody else or anything else, I got to know me. I've got to have already discerned who I am. In other words, I must have the knowledge of who I am, who I've created to be, and what I'm capable of doing and what I'm not
knowing your
capable of doing.
self-identity.
Yeah, you got to know it. You got to know it. You got to know it.
I think that's episode 11. Go back and check that out.
Y'all make sure you do, because it's real, because your discernment will be thrown off. It's going to be skewed by your own self acknowledgement and views and your own selfish ways. And then you're going to be thrown off track big time, and whatever is coming for you might get to you, or you might hit another level where you need more discernment, and you're not ready for that.
What you got to do? I seen you zooming in on your phone.
Oh man, I was just peeking in at some of the things I had jotted down. But another thing I was gonna say is like observation. Observe yourself. Just it kind of goes on to what y'all was saying. Observe yourself and your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that does do something to your mentality where you're at in life, your environment. Anybody you surround yourself with, that can throw off your discernment. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the thing is, if you can't look in the mirror and see what's right and wrong in yourself, how can you look in anywhere else and see what's right and wrong?
Observation starts with self. So,
and that's real, dude, because I have walked in places and I can literally hear the growls. I can hear that there was evil in there.
Right,
I walk right on through there. Like I ain't know that my discernment was ringing in my ears. You know what I mean? You got to be
go back.
You got to be listen, because you can't end up putting yourself in situations that you don't want to be in. But sometimes those situations are needed for you to know what you got going on in life now.
That's what I talked about in church. Through the wilderness.
Good God Almighty.
We talked about that today. Out of chapter 13 of Exodus, around verse 17 through 22 or somewhere around there.
Come on,
but anyway, through the wilderness. Sometimes it's necessary that you go through difficult times and challenges, not necessarily to punish you or to make you feel bad or belittle you, but sometimes they are conditioning tools that is made to, as we're talking about through those 5 things that were labeled, to sharpen you, to make your experience more keen, and also to remind you that the wilderness was not created for you, and it's just an experience that came to pass. It starts off with it came to pass. So you got to understand that any wilderness experience didn't come to stay. It didn't come to tarry. That's why come they never build a temple in the wilderness. They build a tabernacle. A tabernacle was a tent. You only build a tent in a temporary dwelling place. You don't build a tabernacle. You build a tabernacle in a permanent location. So that's the thing you have to do. So don't build a tabernacle where you've been just destined to tent at or stay momentarily. Some people build tabernacles where they only need a tent.
They go there and get comfortable.
Because they're not they're too concerned about their discernment.
See how you brought it back around?
Yeah, he did. So they got paranoia.
And that's real, because I have dealt with people that have, the attitude was so high that they couldn't even listen to whatever message was being told. They just had to get that anger across or get those feelings across, which will rub off on you and make you forget about your own discernment. Because now you're angry. Now you feel like you got to, go back and forth or speak your piece. And as Onyx said, Onyx been my friend for a long time. He would always tell me, sometimes, bro, it's just best that you just shut up. Sometimes it's best to just let them be how they gonna be. You ain't gonna be able to control nobody. You know what I mean? Just let them be how they gonna be.
Just let it go. They used to say, what's her name? Used to say on the middle. She used to say, some battles are not worth fighting. And then before that, they always say, pick your battles. And when you're discerning, you got to pick your battles. You got to pick what you want to deal with, what you do not want to deal with.
And that's the truth.
And that takes, to me, an intelligent decision making individual. You can't just do it. And now let me say that and clarify that intellect doesn't mean you have more discerning abilities than someone who may not have education or to have the intellect or may not have the IQ that you have. Discerning will come through other means other than something that's intellectual, educational, or even by sometimes experiences. So you have to make sure that we don't get this thing misconstrued and make somebody feel like, well, I can't have that because I don't have this. No, you have it, but the thing is you're not using it. And if you use it and don't have it, then it's no good to you. But God gave us tools to cope with and to make sure that we don't get into Satan's trap and fall for his ploys. And we tend not to use them because most of the time what Satan offers is something that we want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's
it's something that entertains us or something we like. If we don't like it now, we did like it. And so, it's drawing. It's something that catches our attention. It has some kind of magnetic force that we can't explain.
Felt so wrong, but it felt so right.
What? All at the same time. So we have to be careful about that.
But see, and you said something, because my granddad used to always tell us when we were younger, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. It's best to have it. Onyx said something yesterday. We was having a conversation, walking around with your armor of God on, knowing how to protect yourself in a spiritual warfare.
This is what it is.
In
these last and evil days, you got to realize that you have to sharpen your armor, and in order to be able to do that, you have to have discernment to know what armor to get in your battle. You know what you got to understand what battle that you're in. So you can understand what whole armor that you need to put on. So it's very important that you use your discernment in the correct way and understand exactly what you're doing, what you're going through, and how you need to handle it.
So how can we reach? I know you do a lot of teaching, Pop. How can we reach these young cats out here? They're losing their lives by the second, and I don't know if they're hearing something to tell them to go the other way or not. I don't know if they hearing something to tell them to come on over, because that's the enemy job, is to kill, steal, and destroy. And people think, oh, it's God telling me, but sometimes that's not God's voice. You're not paying attention. Like, how can we reach the young cats, or what can be done for them to understand their discernment?
Yeah, whatever is speaking the loudest to an individual is normally what they will obey. So we've got to make sure that our message speaks louder than the messages that are negative and are causing them to do these things that are in error. And we got to make sure that what we're speaking, sets them in a place of deliverance and set them in a place of truth, so they understand who they are and who everybody else is. Because the main thing we look at here is that there's been a loss of respect for life.
Indeed.
They're more concerned about status and positions and their relationships with whatever group they're with, whether it be one color or the other color, or one neighborhood or the other neighborhood. They're more concerned about that than they are how we all need each other. And when I hurt somebody, even if they're from a different area, I'm still hurting myself, because I'm taking away from something that has been put in the world to help me be a better me.
Indeed. And we talked about it 2-3 episodes back, the young cats out here, and we did a story on, we did an episode about that, how they talked about they're not out here robbing and stealing anymore for the money or for a girl's attention and thing. They want to see how many souls they can collect. They want to see how many people that they can take off this earth.
And that's straight demonic.
Straight demonic. It bothers me. It still bothers me.
That's straight demonic. Anytime you get into that, now you're talking witchcraft. So now we're on a whole nother level, man, because you're not talking about just the norm here now.
And they are young, like 15, 16, 17.
But that tells you how Satan has invaded our world and our society and humanity. Not just the young minds, because the young mind had to learn it from somewhere. They didn't come equipped with that kind of thing. How many souls I can say? Keeping score? That has to come from somebody who knows what tallying is and made a promise that if you gain so much, then you'll get this or you get that. So in other words, they're thinking they're being rewarded for something that's actually will not reward them but condemn them. So they have to understand that what they're doing is going down the path of destruction and unrighteousness, instead of being in an area that's going to promote a real good quality of life. The thing is, what kind of life do you want? You want a good quality of life, or do you want a good quantity of life? When we start keeping score, all you're talking about is quantity. But you can have quantity and not have quality. There are a lot of people who have quantity but have no quality. So you got to understand that when we deal with this, discernment says, I'm going to make the best decision that will help me have the best quality.
Good God Almighty.
Not the most things in life, because I can vote in error because I know somebody. Well, if I vote for you, you're gonna look out for me, and we're gonna get this. You're gonna give me a new phone.
Scratch my back. I scratch yours.
That kind of mentality. But that's not giving you the best quality. All they're doing is making you dependent on them or the process or the system, which we were created to be interdependent but yet independent. So that means I'm supposed to depend on others, but I got to realize that I am an individual, and they can't decide what I was created to do. Neither can they take it away.
That's right.
Not unless I give them that power.
The opportunity.
And so if I don't empower them to do it, then it can't happen, no matter what. So
That's real.
when you got that good quality of life, then you appreciate where you are, you acknowledge what has happened to you, and you own up to your mistakes. And all of them, they're part of that repetitive process, Dooley.
Real talk.
To help you to be able to listen to this, to have an edge on it the next time. I sense that this is somewhere I've been before. Something is telling me that, now I don't need to go through this again, because I did that same thing last time, and the results was not what I, desired. So this time I'm going to make a different decision. This time, because of what I've gone through, what I've experienced, or what I'm perceiving from all of the fallout, from this, then this may not be the territory that I'm willing to engage in. And so, you got it. So you got to do that and make those decisions that way. Listen. doing what's right has never been easy.
No, never.
You know, and making good choices or great choices has not always been given to the masses.
Right.
You know, they said many are called, but few are chosen.
You got that right.
You
got
got to
that right.
understand that. So when we're doing this thing, that it's as wide as the way that leadeth to destruction.
Real talk.
But narrow is the gate.
Yep.
That
Look,
leadeth
he
unto
right
right
down
way.
Hey, look, we're gonna go pay some bills. Y'all hold on just a minute after these. We'll be right back after these messages.
Imagine owning the world's greatest love songs.
Your boss lady saying, let them have it. 3 TVs for only $99 a month.
3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. I like small.
Buy it so famous.
What's up, everybody? This is Uncle Elroy talking to y'all about Antonio Auto Mechanics LLC. We specialize in brakes, tune-up, and so much more. Now, I can't really tell you what's going on right now with this one, but I guarantee we gonna figure it out. Don't wait till you have problems like this to contact us. Just hit up Antonio Auto Mechanics LLC, and we'll get you straight. Tell them Uncle Elroy sent you. We appreciate you now. Come on out here. I'll be damned.
Antonio's Auto Mechanic LLC, 314-6836.
We keep it real. News you can count on. Backyard News.
Welcome to Backyard Comedy News. I'm your boy Aloysius Thompson coming through to bring y'all some news because you know we got to keep it real. It's a new energy drink that we got right now that everybody's talking about. W. All natural, zero-less energy blend. Get into it. If you use the promo code Backyard Comedy, you will get 10% off. They text me this morning and told me to make sure that we let you guys know that. This has been your boy Aloysius Thompson. Well, y'all know we got to keep it real here at Backyard News, Channel 4. Y'all stay tuned now. Got some more coming for you. Barbecue and foot massage. Jones barbecue and foot massage. And we are back, and we are talking about discernment, reading in between the lines. As Pops was saying when we was leaving off from the break, just got to know, I want to say something about discernment that, you know, me growing up and me being the man that I am today, that spoke a lot of volume when I learned how to do. And we talked about it earlier, and that was praying for myself. I had to learn how to pray for myself. I mean, really pray for myself. Learn the word on my own instead of what people saying. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. That's I had to go through it. A lot of things where people didn't even know what I was going through. Right. You know what I mean? A lot of things some people did know and didn't even offer no help or anything like that. Right. And I just had to learn how to go out here and listen and use my discernment for myself.
See, one
I
thing,
gonna put that in there,
and that's real, because one thing we have to learn right now as people is how to pray, because it's time. It's almost wartime. Yeah, and so we have to sharpen our prayer skills so we can pray to what we need to pray, and use that discernment so you can know what to pray for in this world and in this day and age. Because guess what? It's a lot of stuff that's coming fast at us, guys. I mean, you got to open your eyes and understand and really look at stuff. You worried about all this other mess that's going on in hip hop and all this entertainment mess. We gotta. That's just a distraction. Elsewhere. It's distraction. Yeah. It's distracting us from what we need to, discern against. So we gotta figure that out.
Yeah. What you had to do?
Oh, not much. I was just listening to him. He's right, man. 100%. Yeah, I was humming with it. Man.
Yeah, and you got to figure it out. And see, the prayer, it gives you the edge, because it gives you, prayer is just simply talking to God and allowing God to speak to you. Not necessarily in that order, because sometimes you might just need to wait till he speaks before you speak. Right. And that's the thing. And he'll give you instructions. He'll speak to your heart. Because a lot of times we go to what I call panic prayers, and we're praying when we are very emotional and very historical, and we're all out of shape as far as our discernment or our understanding is, and we got to learn how to just wait and calm down. Most people do not survive traumatic incidences because they panic.
Yeah.
People drown because they panic. People bleed out because they panic. People die from the lack of oxygen and start hyperventilating because they panic. So if you learn how to control it, and you learn how to you learn how to you know, just calm down. You tell yourself that. You got to tell yourself in your head, in your mind, hey, I got to calm down. I need to calm down. Let's breathe. You know, breathe. You tell yourself that. Now you get the opportunity to hear what Father's saying to you. And he'll say something simple like, hey, remember when I took you to, you know, I was there then. What make you think that I'm not going to be here now?
Yeah, that's real.
You know,
to that guidance.
Yeah, and then you say, well, Dad, if you're honest and transparent with him, as we should be, you're like, Dad, I'm scared. I don't really know how to deal with this. This is a place I've never been in my life. This is something I've never been challenged with before. So I don't know what to do. And you can talk to him just like that. And I guarantee you that he will respond. And you're waiting for an audible voice. But it's not an audible voice that he's going to respond in. He's going to give you directions through your heart. He'll give you directions through a song. He'll give you directions through some words that you're reading. He'll have somebody to call you up. And they say, I was just thinking about you. And the Lord told me to just call you and let you know I was praying for you. And this is a person who ain't going to be trying to, you know, get something juicy to go and tell somebody else about. You know, this is not someone who's trying to assassinate you. And so they're going to be asking, listen, I know it's tough, whatever it is, and you don't have to share it, you know, but just know that you got a brother or you got a sister or you got a friend that's out here touching and agreeing with you.
That's real.
So those are things we really have to be aware of and know that these are just practical things that can help us overcome I think, direct attacks of the enemy and strategic attacks of the enemy.
And I have been through situations where, you know, I was being disobedient, not doing what I was supposed to do, and it actually warped my gift. Like it made it fuzzy to understand what I needed to understand.
You know because I mean, just like Dad said earlier, and we talked about earlier, you have to sharpen your gift. And anytime you're not using your gift, you're losing your gift. And you it gets old and now it's rusty. And when you come back, it feels like it's almost riding a bike, but it's all this new stuff that's going on. So you gotta. The Bible says where there's no guidance, our people's fall. Our people fall. And that's, I mean, we have to understand that. You have to seek guidance. You can't be more arrogant than you know the next man, and think that you
come on, brother.
You don't need anyone to help guide you and help you in
everybody
your time
needs somebody now.
Absolutely.
And the text there he's talking about uses guidance as a restraint. He said where people cast off restraints, that there should be no prospering and no going forth. And he says because you have cast off restraints, then I have cast you away. And that's what he says. And so we have to understand that God is going to help us, but God is not going to pacify us.
You got that right.
You know, and you say, well, God help those who help themselves. Yeah, he help a lot of who don't help themselves too.
That's right.
But the thing is, we appreciate his help more when we bring some skin or put something on, you know, bring some skin in the game. You know, and come to the table with something in our hand. When we make an investment in it, then it means more to us. And we're more apt to keep those boundaries and keep those you know, things that we say we're going to do and be committed to it, because we know at the end it makes us better. You know, and the thing is, you gotta discernment. It can be distorted, and as you say, it's a gift. Well, the book of Romans says gifts are without repentance. So that means I can have a gift and not even be churchy or in church, you know, for lack of a better term. But anyway, and so the gift is going to be there. We look at A lot of our secular singers came out of the church.
Mm-hmm.
They were gifted by God with the voice that they have.
Yep.
They chose it to use for other opportunities and other areas.
Get on, I know what they did. I know what they did.
Yeah, and that's
Lucifer
fine.
was gifted.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
Well,
so.
it says he was the most beautiful cherubim. He was an archangel.
Yeah.
He had more authority than most angels.
Yeah.
And then he said he was right there next to God
Next to God.
because God gave him instructions. And this guy was getting a little glory and he wanted all the glory.
He wanted it all. Yep.
Yeah. So he said he was beautiful and he was high and he was lifted up and all this kind of stuff he was.
Yeah.
But he is not now. So you have to understand, and that's the same way he'll do us, though. He will, if you think about it, way back in the book of beginnings of Genesis, the first thing he did is to say the truth is not true.
Yeah.
And that's the way he affects discernment.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what you're perceiving, what you're getting is not true.
Yeah.
And then what he does in order to prove to you it's not true, then he has to fill it with something else to make you think that what he's saying is true. And it has to be something that's closely related. So since he can't create it, he mimics it.
Yeah.
He copies it.
Yeah.
It
started with Adam and Eve, and that's
Jive.
day one. Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah. I feel like, piggybacking off what both of you are saying, man, us being chosen for the fight that we have to do and the messages that we give out to the young folk or older people, being warriors of God and the battles that we have to fight, I feel like it's going to be harder. It's not going to be anything easy. My grandma always sung them songs. Nobody told us the road was going to be easy.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been easy, but you gotta stand firm and I've never been scared to fight. I've never been scared to talk about how good God has been because I know it's a lot of times that I'm a lie because of my faith and because of old prayers. My grandma prayers are still working. I know that, and I'm not scared to stand up and tell somebody. I have had conversations with atheists. Whether they left feeling how they felt, but they understood what I was saying. I have had conversations with non-believers, and I still left feeling how I felt. I ain't stray or changed or nothing.
No, and that's the thing. You gotta believe what you believe. You can't make somebody else believe it.
That's right.
But you've got to believe it.
That's what my grandma said. I used to argue with my uncle over that.
You got to believe what you believe. I want to go back real quick and pick up something about the armor because. Onyx said something that a few may not understand, and he says you got to know which armor to have on because a lot of people think that armor. When you say armor, they think it's just a single classification of one type of,
break it down for him,
uniform or another, and a metal. But you got to understand that there are at least two kinds. There are more than that, and I'm just going to use the two kinds right here. There's an armor that is used for defensive fighting. In other words, that armor is used when you know the enemy is coming and you're trying to defend yourself. That armor is a heavy piece of armor. It has more metal. It has more blocking mechanisms, and you don't have as much movement in that because
you can't do no cap away with that.
Yeah, all you're doing is just trying to stand there and block what they're sending. But then there's another armor which I think is more important in a believer's life, and that is an armor that is used for offense. It's lighter. The shield is not as big. The sword is not as heavy. The knives are not as long and as weighty as all the other. And even the garment and the uniform, the breastplate and the helmet and all that stuff, all of that is light. As a matter of fact, in some cases, we just studied this. In some cases, it talks about in Ephesus, it talks about that breastplate of righteousness was not even made out of metal. It was made out of skin.
Come on now.
And it was the skin that would cause, because of the elasticity of the skin, meaning it had moisture in it, it would keep the arrow from penetrating.
Wow.
And so the thing about it is the skin always had to stay moist. So you had to make sure you keep it the skin lubricated and keep the moisture in so it would have its elasticity. If not, then he talks about the fiery dots. When they shoot an arrow that has fire on it, it would consume the skin and cause it to incinerate. But when you got the water in there, then it would repel it and it wouldn't have the opportunity to pierce. You're always going to be shot with fiery dots. We all get hit with fiery dots every day.
Indeed.
But the thing he says is that the armor of God is able to repel it. So as the thing is, they're going to shoot it, but the thing is, does it hit the target in which it was aimed? It's going to hit you.
Yeah.
But does it carry out what it was sent to do? Does it hit you where it was and this is the other part. I'm going to say this, and all the stuff coming back now. But the other thing is this: is that the fiery dots was never meant to kill. The enemy doesn't shoot fiery dots to destroy. He shoots the fiery dots to wound, to enable or to inhibit a person from being who God has called them to be, and to enable them to be who He's called them to be. In other words, the fiery dots are sent to make you doubt.
Like an attack.
They're sent to steal your testimony. They're sent to interfere with your prayer life. Oh, I can't pray to God now. Man, shoot, I just drunk that fifth. God ain't hearing me.
That was some of my best work there. Do you want to be that?
Yeah. So those fiery dots are sent there to block you from communicating with God. You know, put something between you and Him, a void, a valley, a mountain, a wall, a barrier, so that you would not reach out to God, because He knows when you call on Him, He'll hear you.
Man, hey, look, man. Anybody got anything else to say on that?
That's it right there, boy. I ain't lying. That's it.
That thing about it, man.
Yes, sir.
Great final thought.
Yeah, that was a real good final thought. Anything you got on there, Ski?
Nah, man, it's a blessing that we can talk about this. And guys, for real, really listen to this. Is a blessing for us to be able to have Pops on to speak and break this down for us and talk to us, and y'all really take heed. I mean, I've been under my dad for a long time, and so I know.
Hey, man, we have too.
I know how blessed I am, man, to be able to take all this knowledge in. And
real talk,
knowledge and wisdom is a part of discernment. So please listen very, very much so.
And I just want to say that, man, you know, got to give our flowers while they can still hear them, man. It's a lot of people that I chose that I did not want to listen to. And that's just honest. I don't know what it was, or it was probably my discernment. I was a young age, but it's, you know, kind of find out they wasn't living right. I have a problem with listening to people, especially spread, you know, the word of God, and they don't live right. That's always been a problem for me, and that's probably that fire that's burning up inside me. But I always listen to Pop. He has never stung me wrong, even from me being a kid, even to when we put a scratch on his Lexus that we still don't know to this day. How we got there?
There you go.
But he has always been the same man. You know, whether you're in the wrong or whether you're in the right, he still find a way to give you a teaching moment where it can help you be better, regardless. And I want to shout you out for that, Pop.
Well, thank you, man. Love you guys. I appreciate you.
Love you too, man. Definitely.
It's great. Y'all need to really practice discernment. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of key points of your life. Without discernment, you can waste a lot of time, investments that you miss out on because you don't have discernment. I definitely appreciate Pops coming on because he always speaks to my spirit. A lot of times I sit here quiet because I'm really putting in what he's getting. So again, appreciate you, Pop, for coming on.
Real talk, man. Any final words you got for the crowd, Pop?
Hey, my thing is I appreciate you guys, and what you're saying to me is reciprocated, because it talks about iron sharpening iron, and I know I got you guys by decades, but you guys giving me an opportunity to do this. A few decades. But you giving me the opportunity to be on this platform and to share in this with you guys, man, who I love, and I've seen your lives and known of some of the difficulties, and see now that you are overcomers and you're flourishing in spite of. It blesses me just to be a part of it, because you get to a certain point in life, and I'm there where you're doing your last works. I've lived more days than I'm going to live. We're not living in Bible days, so we're not going to get way over in the century. And so we're not gonna be doing that 900 and stuff. No,
right.
But the thing is, I appreciate that.
You will.
Go ahead, enjoy it. I'll be gone. And so that blesses me to be able to say. That's why I do it, and that's why. I really, really, in my heart, and I brag about it. I told him today in church, I said, I'm going to do the podcast today, and I told him about your backyard comedy. I said, y'all look at that and look at this. Hey, listen, look, I'm back. But it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real. So it's not, even though it's backyard comedy, it still has teaching tools in it, and it's still promoting positivity
every time.
And so you're not around here telling people to go out out and do stuff that's counterproductive.
Oh yeah.
So
I done tried it.
behaviors can be modified.
Right.
So that's the thing we have to understand. We can't. The Bible. But not the Bible. People used to say you're so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good.
Mm-hmm.
So as viewers, we can't be so sanctified and holy and religious that we can't deal with ordinary people.
I have had people that were so sanctified and holy, it was on their voicemail when they called, Heavenly Father, thank you for calling me, leave a message right now. And they just, they were just so in there.
Yeah. But that drives you away instead of drawing you.
It do.
If you can't speak to them, then you can't reach them.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real.
So
Don't nobody want to hear all that mess.
And it's crazy that you say that, because it's just confirmation, because my mom was telling me yesterday that a lot of kids and people our age don't even want to go to the church no more.
Right.
So that's why we have the gift that we have to reach those people.
Yeah.
Because we always put God in every single episode. You're gonna hear talking about God in there somewhere.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna do. And she definitely said that yesterday. Shout out to you, Mom.
Yeah.
Yes. Shout out, Mom.
Yeah.
Yes, Mama.
Well, man, we appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit us on BackYardComedy3@gmail.com. Any questions you got for Pops, anything you want to know, if you just simply need somebody real to pray for you, just hit us up, man. We will get it to him so he can reach out to you, whatever the case may be. There's nothing too small for the Lord. I guarantee you that. Whatever you think nobody can help you with, somebody can. And this man right here, he has a direct line. I know 100% fact.
He crazy.
A direct line. And I trust it. I trust his faith, and I trust his word. You know what I mean? As always, I got my boy. Oh, excuse me, baby. Please say the baby.
Y'all already know that, man.
That really do that I got beside me.
Right here.
I'm your boy Vocal 26. Got Pops right here.
Yes, indeed.
Oh yeah, we do. He's up in the building. Make sure y'all hit us up. Download Podbean. Everywhere we are streaming on it. Real Demand TV. Make sure y'all check out Dubby. Everything to support BackYard Comedy. Make sure y'all do it. Time is a precious thing to waste, so don't waste it by not watching BackYard Comedy. We appreciate y'all, and we love y'all.
Love y'all, man.
See ya.